Well, hello and welcome to this week's broadcast. I am Anne LaFollette, a surface pattern designer, online educator, and creative entrepreneur. And in this quick tips video, we're going to talk about merchandising your table for your upcoming craft fair. And thinking about merchandising your table is actually really important because there's some key things that can make your products really pop and look incredibly attractive on the table that will attract customers towards you so that you can then get into a dialogue with them about what you have on offer and what would be a fantastic gift for them to purchase from you. And the first thing is to consider the size table that you have and make sure you have some type of a cover for it. So tip number one is take a tablecloth or some type of covering with you so that you can both cover the table and have it hang over so that you can have some of your inventory under the table and have it be hiding so no one can actually see it from the front of the table. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is you want to save some boxes that you've gotten in the mail. Maybe you've had some Amazon deliveries or some other deliveries recently that have come in a box. Save the boxes because one of the things that's very important when you're merchandising your table is to put things at different heights. So tip number two is to think about different heights so that everything is not at the same level. You want some things to be higher, some things to be lower, some things to be stacked vertically or horizontally. So thinking about the space and the three-dimensional space is tip number two. And then tip number three is if you're going to have things like pouches or tote bags, make sure that you have a lot of just tissue paper. Or if you take anything to the dry cleaners and you get the either packaging material or the plastic wrap that goes around some things you get back from the dry cleaners, save a whole bunch of those so that you can use it as filler because you want some of the items on your table to be nice and fat and to stand out so that they're not actually lying flat. They're actually nice and have more dimensionality to them. So tip number three is think about those extra supplies that you might need to kind of beef up what your merchandising display looks like. Now, the last thing, which is a pro tip for you, is bring at least one, maybe two items from your creative studio. And what I mean by that is when I go to a craft fair, I always bring an orchid plant with me. I don't actually have one behind me today, but frequently you'll see an orchid plant behind me in my videos. So I'll bring one of those. It adds interest. It's something that softens the table and makes it not all about the merchandise. So that is a pro tip for you. And then also, if there's something that's a little bit of a touchstone about you as an artist, bring that too. And so my example would be, I love this blue jug. This blue jug was very important in my early days as an artist because I would put all of my favorite brushes, obviously, in it. And so I bring this with me, and I also have it on a box, so it's a little elevated on my table, but it's something that resonates with me as an artist. I know I always have it in my studio. I'm always picking my paintbrushes out of it. So if you have something like this that you want to bring with you, that's also a nice way for you to bring some of your own personality to the table. And then don't forget that you want to have business cards with you. Something that is either a little flyer takeaway or a stack of business cards so that as people are shopping the craft fair, that even if they are, especially if it's multiple days, that they pick something up to remember you by so that they come back the next day and hopefully make a purchase. So I know that was a lot to cover in today's quick tips video, but I will see you next week when we actually talk about what are the final preparations and supplies that you want to have ready as you go to actually set up your table. With that, I'll let you go. I always like to say in closing that I am Anne LaFollette, and it's never too late to create. Bye for now, and I'll see you next week.